Hello there and welcome to ADcraft. In today's episode I'm going to be showing you 10 fantastic Torii Gate designs that can be found in shrines all over Japan, with a very special surprise for the 10th gate, so make sure you don't miss out on that and stay watching to the end. And without any further ado, let's get on with the video. So number one on our list, we have a very small and very simple design. Now, one of the things with Torii shrines is that you occasionally get them where you have many of them in a row. Now, this is the perfect kind of a design for that, where you can put a number of these taking people on a path through your build, and that's the ideal usage for this. It's made with acacia wood. All of the blocks are going to be in the world download, so I won't go through sort of specifics of exactly how each one of these are built. They're pretty self-explanatory, so we'll carry on from here. So yeah, as I say, this is the acacia wood one, and the most simple of the designs. Number two, we're starting to get something a little bit more complicated. Again, it's just mainly made of red nether brick walls with some dark oak planks on top. But again, this would be the perfect design if you wanted to have a number of these in a row leading somewhere on a particular journey through your base or through your build. Three on the list, we have a slightly bigger one. Now, bear in mind that all of the colour schemes for these could be interchangeable depending on how you wanted to build them. There's a number of different block palettes that have got the relevant blocks, such as your walls, such as your slabs, your stairs, which are the key blocks. So this one here I've done using the granite blocks, and again, this is the first one that's slightly bigger. This could be something that is, say, an entryway to a Japanese garden or a Japanese blossom tree area. So whereas you've got these two where you would probably want multiple ones of these, this could be your one feature piece depending on the size of your actual build itself. Moving on to number four, what we have here is a wooden design. So again, with the wood, you don't have quite the same blocks. You haven't got the wall blocks. So what we're using is fences and fence gates. And the thing with the fence gates, when you stack them together, they're much more compact than when you use the fences, and they don't stick down so much. So they work quite well as the crossbeam for this design. Now, you'll also see that with a number of these builds, we've got the actual banners, and all of these banner patterns are basically variations on the themes that we covered in my 10 Japanese banners that you need for your Minecraft world. So please do make sure you check that out if you haven't seen the video, and that gives you all of the crafting recipes for these. So this is a wooden shrine. There's fewer of these in reality, but again, this, dependent on if you're looking for, say, a slightly older style of build, then this would be a really good one to stick into your base there. Moving on to my particular favourite, and the one that I have and was showing at the front in my Japanese base, we have the red concrete version, and that has the nether brick top. And one of the other good things that we have here is you can hide some sea lanterns in the actual base of this build. And the fantastic thing about that is then it lights up the base and means that it gives you some passive lighting whilst you're there, and stops some mobs spawning around this. So the good thing about that is that you can put these anywhere and they will light themselves up. But the downside is, of course, with the red concrete, you don't have the same block palette, you don't have the stairs, you don't have the walls, so you do have to go slightly bigger to get the same effect. But then you can add some detail with the banners, with a couple of buttons that represent, say, some gold or some burnished areas on there, and then just the little overhang as well to give it a little bit of depth. Moving on to the next design, and we are at number 6 now in our rundown. We've got a wider design. Now, these are quite often used as an entryway in Japan into some of the forested areas that do have a number of the shrines. So you could use this, for example, as the gateway, and then use the wooden shrines from earlier to actually lead people on the path that you're looking to take them through your actual garden, through your actual outdoor build. So that's why this one's here. Again, just I've used the andesite, but you can use whatever stone variant that you want. This would also work very well in smooth stone, but the andesite I thought it just gave a nice bit of texture with the texture pack that I'm using, which out of interest is Vanilla BD Craft, which is basically just a HD version of the vanilla textures. And the good thing about this is I actually found it when I used to play on the Bedrock on Xbox, and then it's also available for Java, so whatever the platform you should be able to get hold of this texture pack, and it's just the same as the vanilla textures but slightly higher definition. Moving on to number 7, we have a slightly bigger one. Now this design is one that's generally used as well for a feature piece in a build. So if you have, say, a mountain top or some kind of a hill, you might want to stick something like this on the top of the build. It's kind of what people would climb the steps to actually see, and it might give you a viewpoint or something like that on the build. And these are generally shown with the extra pillars that you get at the front and the back of the actual Torii Gates themselves. Moving on again to a larger build, you might have noticed that each of these is getting bigger as we go, and we have another red concrete version of the build. This is very much an entrance to a particular area, so a small town or a temple or something like that, that you would generally get this style of Torii Gate. Again, you have to make do with the fact that you don't have all the block variants, so you could build this in, say, a red nether brick, but I think the impact of doing it in the red concrete does work fantastically. And yeah, just a shame that unfortunately in Minecraft at the moment we don't have more coloured stairs and slab variety. But what I've done with this one is to represent, say, a little copper roof. I've used the dark prismarine slabs, stairs and blocks. And again, if you want to look at these in more detail, then there will be a world download in the description. And this one is shown when in the build by you've got the angle, so it's kind of leading you into the Torii Gate in the middle, so that would be the main bit that you would be focusing on in the entranceway. Now number 9 that we have here is a much bigger design. These tend to be spaced out in very, very large scale builds or towns, and what we've got here is I've just used the bricks and then just chucked in some of the granite blocks to just add a little bit of variety, because these generally don't have much embellishment on them. They are generally quite plain, and because of the size of the build, then you don't actually have banners or anything like that on them. So mixing up the blocks for this, on a lot of the others, they are very smooth, they are very specifically designed to be very simplistic in their design, because that's how they actually are in reality. But this one, just because it is so big, you can actually get away with using some of the block variety that we've got in the game. So again, if you wanted to do this in one of the other block palettes, if you wanted to do this in say the red concrete, of course you wouldn't be able to put the walls in there, but you could probably do an approximation of this and put in maybe some concrete powder as well as the concrete itself, just to give that a bit of variety. And the other good thing about this one is because we've got the trapdoors again on the base, the very heavy duty base, then those could be used to cover up sea lanterns. So that's the final one. I'll just go up there to show you the roof. It's got a pitched roof again to the center of the build, just as a bit more interest there. And so again, if you had this in a valley and you come down to this and go through this into, say, an epic build, that would look fantastic. So that's the 9, and now I'll go on and show you the 10th. Now, just quickly before we do look at number 10, I will give you the run through of these with the default textures on. So again, one of the downsides is that granite doesn't look quite so good in the default textures, but some things like the stripped spruce do look fantastic. Red concrete again just looks really smooth, really nice. That's a particularly nice design in any texture. And again, the andesite as well, looking at it as a build, looks great. It looks very organic there as well. So moving through the builds to the biggest one, and then of course you can still see the block variation in that. And now we've gone through those, we will show you number 10. And last but not least, at number 10, we have this fantastic water shrine. As you'll know, this is based on the Tsukushima water shrine, and there is a video on my channel explaining exactly how to build this. So please do check that out if you haven't already. And with that being said, that takes us to the end of our list. And wait, there seems to be one more over there. Actually, is that? Let's have a look at that. Is that diorite? Is that a diorite? Wait, what's going on? What? Oh dear. Well, it was diorite, so it's probably for the best. Oh dear. Well, with that being said, thank you for watching. Please do make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time on ADcraft.